Teodoro Garcia unfortunately could not make it. But Ed Juline from Bitcoin Treasury Media is going to, well, he promises that he has a very funny presentation on Bitcoin. So I'm going to hold him to it and then have him come over. So please give Ed a warm welcome.
Check, check, check. All right. So things don't always go as planned in events, and we have to make it up on the go sometimes. So Teodoro was not able to join us. So last night, Aldana said, can you fill in? So I had to stay up last night and put together a presentation, but we were like, what am I going to present on? It's like, okay, well, what's a hot topic right now? And it's this whole thing about forks. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to do some research. I'm gonna have to chat GPT this. We're gonna have to come up with something about like what are forks and what does this mean to everybody. I'm not a Bitcoin expert, so this could totally bore you. You may already know this better than me, but we had to fill some time here, okay? So let's see how this goes. How do I get it? Whoop, back. Let's see. See, I told you, nothing goes. All right, the history of forks. Here we go. So, keep in mind, I had to make this last night. The fork was a real latecomer to the table. Knives were the descendants of hand axes that people used. Spoons were made from local objects. When people scooped stuff, the shape of the fork had been around longer than the table utensil. This is the fork presentation you're expecting, right? Okay, let's just keep going. So we had the Byzantine-born Venetian princess problem. Her dowry included some golden forks, and you can see this painting behind you where she had the forks included in it. And St. Peter Damian, who was on Twitter, weirdly enough, said, nor did she deign to touch her food with her fingers, but would command her eunuchs to cut it up into small pieces, which she would impale on a certain golden instrument with 2 prongs and thus carry to her mouth. This woman's vanity was hateful to Almighty God, and so unmistakably did he take his revenge. I really hope this is the right presentation. Okay, well, let's keep going. Anyway, so this is the painting, and you can see the Byzantine princess over here, and everybody's looking at her like, oh my God, how could you use forks? This kind of reminds me of a Bitcoin meetup in some ways, right? Everybody kind of looking at each other funny. Does anybody know who painted this? Because it's a big mystery as to who painted this. There is somebody who claimed to have painted it. He said, I am the one who painted that. It's this guy. Does anybody know who that is? He's the one who says he painted it. Anyways, so the last block before the fork. So Montaigne in the 1570s in a passage about the force of habit mentions forks, but he says he rarely uses them. And they were still associated with sinister behavior. In an essay in Feeding Desire on the Sexual Politics of Cutlery, has anybody read The Sexual Politics of Cutlery? I'm the only one? Okay. Carolyn Young notes that in 1605, an anonymous allegorical novel about the courtiers of Henry III portrayed a mysterious island peopled by hermaphrodites, whose behavior is characterized by theatricality, artifice, and falsehood. Sure enough, the hermaphrodites eat with forks, spilling more food than they manage to consume in their pursuit of the new and the unnecessary. Young traces the unsettlingly effeminate aura of the fork all the way through 1897, when British sailors are still eating without forks. I'm not getting a good reaction from you guys. I'm wondering if I did the right research here. Okay, let's keep going. Anyways, mass adoption of the fork didn't happen until the end of the 18th century. I have some favorite forks that I researched last night. Does anybody know what this fork's called? Yeah, this is called light fork. This one? Any guesses? Yep, that's called Fork SV. This one? No, that's Forkurium. This one, somebody's gonna get this one. Yeah, that's Forkero. And this one, of course, very fork, such confusion. And this one is by far my favorite. Anybody know this fork? No? Yeah, that's just called Ripple. Okay. So the history of forks. Change takes a long forking time. Like when we're talking about the fork, the thing you use all the time, and this is where my presentation kind of comes into view here, is that we are all so upset about how long it's taking Bitcoin to happen, right? It's like, God, why isn't it happening? Why isn't it happening? And it's been 14, 15 years. It took hundreds and hundreds of years for people to adopt the fork. You see how I did that? Toby, you see how I brought it all together there? Yeah? And so we have to be patient with any new technology. I know technologies are being adopted really quickly, but even something as fundamental as an eating utensil, people were against it. It fought against their religious beliefs. And so patience when you're an early adopter, when you're an innovator, is incredibly important. This is the epitome of where we've achieved the technological brilliance of our humankind is finger forks. I mean, that's pretty much it, right? That's good. That's as good as it's ever going to get. So anyways, I just wanted to throw that in for a little fun, because we had a speaker that couldn't come. We have to make these things up in events. That's the history of forks. And now you know everything about Bitcoin forks. These are some of my favorite comics. I don't know where we're going, but it looks good from this crowd. And you know, we've gone through all these things where they compared us to flat earthers and the, what was the name of this? Yeah, that. Favorite quote? Patience is not, hold on. Sí, mi amor. No. Sí. No. Estoy hablando con la gente. Sí. Okay. Se llama, bye. Sorry. My favorite quote. Patience is not simply the ability to wait, it's how we behave while we're waiting. And I think this is a very critical part of what we need to do as we develop Bitcoin, as we make Bitcoin go forward. It's how we behave, it's that we stick to our standards, stick to our morals, and do it in the right way, and be patient. Thank you very much.